All right, guys, welcome to the Copynomics podcast. What's your last name? How do you say it?
Doershuck.
Okay, Jamie Doershuck. And this is the first of many podcast interviews. So I'm super excited and we're going to go ahead and get started. So before you started copywriting, what were you doing? Like, what was your job?
Yeah, so actually, I had a couple of jobs. I started copywriting pretty early, though. So, right in freshman year of college. Before that, I had two jobs like at the same time. One of them, I was an administrative assistant at a horse riding farm. So, they would teach horse lessons to kids, as well as they also bought and sold horses for like dressage and certain other types of horse sports. So I sold horses actually on the internet, like on Craigslist and stuff. So that was one. And then the other job that I had was like an assistant medical recruiter. So basically, my boss was, the medical recruiter, and a pharmaceutical company or something would put out a job advertisement, and I would go through all the resumes of whoever, like if she was representing it, and then I would go through all the resumes, and then I would like filter out resumes that sucked, and then she would only get, the good resumes. And then also, um, she honestly, both of my jobs gave me a good experience with performance based payment, because like I would, just whatever hourly wages for that type of stuff. But with that medical recruiter lady, she would also let me pick like, oh, who's my favorites. And if I picked someone and they actually got hired for the job, she would give me a little cut of her percentage that she got paid. And then also with the horse farm place, if I sold a horse or whatever, I sold other stuff for them too. Like they have an ATV and they don't want it anymore. So have me list it on Craigslist. And then when I sold stuff for them on Craigslist, they would also give me like a little cut. So that's what I did
Uh,
before copywriting.
so you're really into animals.
Yeah, I love animals. I have a dog and I have some chickens too. So animals are awesome.
I had two cats and some chickens.
Aw, what type of chickens do you have?
Uh, I don't know. I know somebody
What
that has chickens and I wanted them, and they just ended up giving me a whole bunch of chickens.
do you have different colored eggs, or are they all like the same color eggs?
Some of them are like a beige color.
Hmm.
Some of them are like a blue color.
Yeah, I have those too. I have some with the blue color. Those are really fun. It's like Easter all the time.
And we eat breakfast so often because I have so many eggs.
Yeah, I give them away to like my neighbor, and luckily my parents live nearby too. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't know that the chickens will lay an egg pretty much every day, if not like every other day. So even I don't have that many. I had like five. But even still, I mean, I'm giving a whole dozen to my parents, dozen to my neighbors, eat them as much as I can myself, but still try to give them away as much as I can too.
It's fun. I have after this we'll quit talking about chickens, but I have six of them and two of them are roosters, so I had to keep them separated.
Hmm.
My family lives close by too, so I at one time I thought I would have like 20 chickens.
Yeah.
Now I have so many eggs, I don't know what I would do with 20 chickens.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you'd be buried under the eggs.
Yeah. So why did you go from your job to copywriting?
So basically, I went to copywriting through, I guess, a few different extra steps, because at first I went into marketing in general, I guess. So I had those other jobs, then I went to college, and then I was going to college in Europe in Switzerland, to a music conservatory. So basically, living in another country, I need to be able to make money. But because I had a visa there, they only wanted me to, well, actually, it couldn't work at all for the first 6 months. And then after that, only a maximum of 10 hours per week. And it's like, wow, that's not really a lot of money. So, so I was like searching, like, what can I teach myself that people will pay me for? And then first I came on the idea of whiteboard videos, which is like a hand like draws some stuff while there's a voiceover and whatever. So I taught myself how to make those, and I got into marketing by making whiteboard videos. And then from there, I started a side business because I wanted to practice marketing in between my whiteboard video projects. So I made a subscription box, and from that subscription box, I did everything for that. So like I did the website, I did all the social media, photography, videography, video editing, because I wanted to practice different marketing skills and see what type of stuff I liked the best. But then I found out that my favorite part of the whole thing was when I would send like an email, and then a few hours later I would have money in my PayPal. And I thought that was just so cool. So that's when I got like really hooked on copywriting. And from there, I was like, well, I don't really need to have this side business. I could just do copywriting and then not have all the overhead of having to buy. I really love the town that I live in and the area that I live in. So I highlight local businesses in my subscription box. But I'm like, yeah, whatever. I could just write things and not have to pay for all that stuff.
Yes, that's kind of how it was. I started out in network marketing. Some guy somewhere at first, well, in 2008, I was in real estate.
Mhm.
I'm sure you know how that went.
Right. Yeah. Not a great time to be in real estate.
Yeah,
Or anything really.
yeah, and at the time when it was crashing, some guy, he said, "Hey, I have something to show you. Come by my office tomorrow." So I went by his office. He showed me network marketing, and I said, "Why is nobody doing this? It's like the greatest thing in the world." And I did it. I said, I'm gonna get so rich doing this." And turns out I didn't get rich. It was really hard to recruit people.
Yeah.
And then so I found a company that was teaching people how to do network marketing. And through some of their trainings, they were teaching people how to do copywriting. And that's the part I fell in love with.
Hell yeah. That's really similar. That's cool. And that's fun when you fall in love with like copywriting. You're doing a lot of stuff and you're like, wow, this thing though, this part is really the most fun. And then it's like you can just focus on that. And it's its whole own job. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and since I've been learning about it, like you'll be driving down the road. Have you ever seen that Corona beer truck that says your beach on tap?
Yeah,
It's freaking brilliant.
it is.
But you see stuff like that, and then nobody else sees it. But it's like you put the glasses on.
Yeah, like you could see the code of the matrix, you know?
So I'm sure at first you probably failed at it. And
Yeah, so at first, I actually I okay, so it always feels weird to say, but like I I kind of succeeded at it right away, but the reason why is because I was able to leverage my results. Like, so I already had my other business that, so my subscription box, I built it up to like 25 people who were subscribing. And I had two offers for the business. So even when I was going to solicit my first copywriting clients, it was different from having just a portfolio that I made up. I have the advantage over other people that I was like, this is what I wrote and this was the results. And that always set me apart from other people. But I also would say that like I think yeah, there's a lot of people out there who apply for something, anything really, not just copywriting. But the bar is really low. So even though I wasn't extremely experienced, like the other type of applications and the way that people write isn't that great. So I already stood out. But then on top of that, it could be like whatever, like, yeah, you write nice, but people don't really care about that at all. You could write like crap, but if you show them that these are results and this sold a lot of things, then that's honestly really what people are looking for. So yeah, because I went out of the gate, not with stuff I made up, but I got to show like this is real emails I sent, this is real click-through rates, this is real sales from this. I was able to get jobs pretty quickly. And then for me, it was like, And I guess I had some practice too, because I was already talking with clients for my whiteboard videos. So I already knew how to like run client sales calls and close people on services. And then from there, it was more like I started with lower level projects, and I started with like just doing something for a couple $100. But what set me apart from everyone else is every time I do something, then I take the results and I incorporate it into my portfolio, and then I leverage that for more money. So like every time I was getting another job, I was taking the results that I just got and showing it to the next person and charging them, literally charging them more money than I just charged the last people. So they don't know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that made it pretty easy. And then otherwise, like people never believe me, but I tell it all the time. Like I got all my clients from two places in the beginning. And just the beginning, I got it from Reddit and Facebook groups. And then after I had a bunch of projects, the third place that I got the most work was from other people that I worked on other projects with. So like if I worked on a project and then the web developer or someone is like, hey, or like a graphics designer or like the person setting up the email automation systems, like all of these people are resources and they have other clients. And I get a lot of business now. Well, now I also get a lot of business from my actual clients referrals, but even before client referrals, I got a lot of projects from people that I worked with on something else being like, oh, hey, I really liked Jamie. Jamie was really professional. Jamie always met her deadlines, and Jamie always knocked it out of the park for people. So I know that we need someone to do that on this other thing. And they felt comfortable referring me to other people.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I want to kind of focus on that a little bit because this is the part I really want people to get out of it. I really love the stories because every time I do one of these videos, I get a different story, and this is part of that. But let's just pretend that you didn't have it, you never had a client at all, but you know what you know now. What would you do to get your first couple clients? And I know after that you kind of leverage your past clients, but what would you do to get the first client?
Yeah. So to get that first client, like I would just find a way. Here's what I wouldn't do, right? And this is what everyone else does. And this is the common advice is to do spec work, to go ahead and just make a portfolio and then start talking to clients like that. What I would do is either like I would find a way to get actual results, whether it's by making up a product or doing an affiliate marketing or something like that, just to demonstrate sales and doing it on my own. Or I also personally feel like a lot of people have like a friend who has a business or a family member who has a business or something. So I would be asking my family and friends that I know that have a business, I would be like, hey, I know you're in business. Can you tell me more about it? How do you make money? Like, what do you need someone to do to make a transaction with you? Then I would try to find out, do you have like a lead list or an email list, or do you have even your point of sale system where you could export the email list of all your past clients, because that gives you a baseline. And then I would just tell them, so I guess I'm in the do work for free camp, but only if you can actually like, how can I say it? Like deploy it, that it actually goes live and that you actually get results. So if you're ever doing something for free, which I'm really not one to advocate for this, but if you had nothing and for whatever reason you couldn't do it yourself, then I'd be like, hey, best friend who has a business, let me write some emails for you. Explain to me, how do people make a sale like that you get money? Where do I need to send them? What do they need to do? Write it up, go into their email service provider, and then send it out for them. And then I would screenshot all that stuff. And that's the first thing of your portfolio. So the main mistake that people make is that they are doing something making a portfolio based off of their imagination. Oh God, the biggest mistake is making up a product and then making up copy for that. Because it's like, if, you know, copywriters are not inventors. So companies spend millions, hundreds of millions of dollars on something called R&D, which is research and development. So like, just pick something that already exists. Even if it's a company, they're selling things that already exists. Like, don't reinvent the wheel. When people invent a product, then it's like, how could you build a house with a foundation of newspaper? You know what I mean? Like, nobody's going to be like, I want to build a house, so let me just get some sticks and paper and make a foundation, and I'm sure it's going to be fine. And that's pretty much what you do when you're like, well, I'm going to practice copywriting. So first I'm going to invent the product, and then for my made up product, I'm going to write made up copy for it. It's like, well, that's going to give you not something that's going to close clients. Clients want to see something based in reality. So yeah, if it was me, I would either try to sell something myself, or I would try to find a friend who has a business and just explain to them, I want to write you emails or something that makes you money. Make the money though, not social media, not blogs. Like, you need to figure out how close can you get to how they make money and just do that.
There's some this guy, he was trying to sell me a copywriting course, and I'm sure it was worth it. But the one thing that stuck out to me in the sales video, he said the person closest to the money is the one that makes the most money.
Yep,
And,
exactly.
and what you're saying, it makes sense because it's kind of like theory versus results.
Yes. And too many people don't understand like why businesses make money, how businesses make money. The problem with most copywriters, to be honest, is like, you can tell if they understand, or how well they understand, um how does somebody actually buy this product, like how does somebody actually make this transaction. And I don't mean like, yeah, there's like two different levels. There's a high level of like, okay, they go to a website and they click a button and they pay money, I guess, like, sure. But that's not what I'm talking about. And the level that real top game copywriters like myself are at, which is like, this person is going to come here from one of a few places. They might be coming from cold traffic. They might be coming from Instagram on these campaigns that we're doing, or they might be coming from Facebook on these campaigns that they're doing, or they could be coming from our warm traffic, because I know that social media is coordinating with us on this initiative. So we have organic social media posts that are going out that support whatever it is that I've just built the funnel for. And I also know that I wrote email blasts that are going to go out. So yeah, warm traffic, they could be coming either from Facebook, Instagram, or from our email blast. And then once they get onto the website, they're going to have to click the add to cart button. And then you have to think like, from the add to cart button, what happens, right? Like, it happens different on different websites. Sometimes when you click add to cart, just a little bleep bloop pops up and it's like, hey, you added one to your cart total is like $30. Sometimes you click add to cart and it will just direct you right to the checkout page, where then you're at like a page that's like a whole separate page. It's like, you have this in your cart, here's your total, check out, or no thanks, continue shopping. So like, these sound like, and then even from there, you have to understand, what's the checkout process like? Is it a two-step checkout or a one-step checkout? Because there are different sequences of steps. Do you have any type of one-time offers that are going to come up, or one-click upsells after the fact, or even before the fact? Like, sometimes when you're like, oh, I'm done shopping, check out, then it actually takes you to like an upsell, like a pre-purchase upsell, where it's like, hey, you got one of these vitamins, would you like to upgrade to 3 packs of the vitamins for the price of 1.5 or whatever? Like, so that's sounds like, why does it matter? But if you don't understand why it matters, like just at least do it. Because even if you don't understand why it is, I'm telling you that that's what people who are outperforming you understand that. So you need to start understanding that. Through beginning to know this, you'll understand why it's important if it doesn't make sense to you right off the bat. But hopefully it does too.
Yeah, and the only way to really know is to, when in doubt, test it out. You know.
Yep.
So, all right. So well, I already kind of figured out what you did to change it. So, and that's really what we want to know, because what I want to do here is I want to create a resource for people to come and say, if they're a copywriter, what do I need to do to change my results? So, is there any books that you recommend?
Yeah. So I have an entire list actually where like I explain, I don't even remember how many books, but like each book and what it's good for. So you could go to jamiedorshuck.com/bookrecs, BOOKRECS. And then off the top of my head, some of my favorite ones are okay, for copywriters and freelancers in general. I would recommend one book called How to Change Minds by Robert Joles, based Jolles, Joles. And basically, what this book is about is that it helps you understand, like, okay, when people make a purchase, it's because they wanted or needed something. Um, and this book helps you understand how does that get sparked? And then how do people, once you have a spark, like a purchase intent, but yeah, once you're like, wow, I have a problem and I absolutely have to fix it, first you understand how'd you get to that point. Then it helps you understand, like, why do people make decisions? So How to Change Minds by Robert Joles, that's a great book. A second book is called Consultative Closing, and I honestly forget who the author is off the top of my head, but if you look at the jamiedorshuck.com/bookrecs, this one is on there. And also if you just type consultative closing into Amazon, it's an orange cover. And this one explains that there are, like how I was saying, you need to understand every step that somebody goes through when they're going to engage with the products that you're selling. That's called like micro steps and micro commitments. And so this book, Consultative Closing, will go really deep onto the concept of that. And then finally, I would say Spin Selling, SPIN Selling. And that's by Neil Rackham. And the reason why is because most of you guys are just doing your sales calls wrong. I want to sum it up real quick. So what could you do differently to be successful? First thing, don't make up your copy. Find a way to get real results. It doesn't matter how. Do it yourself, ask a friend. And then the second way is that you're doing prospecting wrong, you're doing sales calls wrong. A lot of people go into sales calls thinking that they need to prove their value to the client. So it comes off as like desperate, I guess, or like you want the job too bad. And I'm not saying this to be mean, I'm just saying it to be honest about what to change. When instead, you really shouldn't be doing the talking. Like, you shouldn't be sitting there explaining to the client why do they need to hire you. Really, what I prefer to do is just ask them questions like, yeah, so why are you looking for help with your marketing? What's going on? You want to establish the situation, which Spin Selling is going to teach you how to do. What's your current revenue? Okay, well, you're looking for help right now. So obviously that, like, what are you trying to work towards? Why are you looking for marketing help? Like, do you have a goal that you're going to? Incentives, that's also part of Spin Selling. Needs, payoff, and stuff like that. Or sorry, payoff and needs. Like, so um we just gotta completely revamp and reframe the way that we're thinking about prospecting and sales calls. You want to get as much information from them as possible. And you shouldn't be asking any questions about brand voice or what is it exactly that they want you to do in this project. That's more of like paid type of conversations. Like I'm not going to be asking anyone to send me a brand voice document and read it like before they're ever paying me any money. So when you're on sales, what you should be talking about is what is the only two things: what is it that they want, and what is it that you've done for other people. And if they want to know what is it that you could do for them, that is where they need to pay you. So that is my advice of two things that you could change in a couple books that you could check out.
All right, perfect. Well, my last question, it was going to be where can people go to find you? But if you send me that link, I'll put it in the description of this video.
Hell yeah. Yep. And you guys could just Google Jamie the Marketing Nerd. I'm pretty much everywhere. And yeah, I'm on YouTube, jamiedoershuck.com. And we're going to put the book recommendations link for you guys. Highly recommend checking that out because there's like at least 20 incredible books on there. And I explain in even more detail, like who's this good for? Why should you read it? What are you going to learn when you read it? So I think that you guys are going to love that. So congratulations on building yourself up, investing in yourself, and taking this time to learn, because it's through these conversations that you're going to learn what it will take to really move the needle in your business, so that one day too, you can build a multi-six-figure copywriting consulting business like I have.
All right. And if there's anything I learned throughout this interview so far, the biggest thing is to add value to yourself. And that's how you get results.
Absolutely.
All right, perfect. Well, all right, guys. Well, that's the end of this video. I will talk to you for a minute after we get off. But I'll see you in the next one.